are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing programs beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh. Other times, maybe, we go deep. I'm your host, Sophia Cameo, and I'm joined by...
I'm Jason. I'm at Neo's the One on all your favorite socials.
And I'm Diana, Screens in Focus. You can find me at screensinfocus.com.
You better. Today, we're talking about From's fourth season, the second episode, namely, The Fray. Before we get started, I want to get a feel for what you're thinking, because this season feels a touch different than prior seasons. So we leave off Sophia in the last episode, smothering her quote-unquote father. Also quote-unquote Sophia, first of all. We start this episode off with Kenny dozing in his chair, keeping watch, quote-unquote. There was a similar feeling in the last episode. We kind of started where we left off from season 3. All the things that kind of recapped after everything that transpired. One, did you feel that more this episode, considering we've done this 2 episodes in a row? We're not starting off in a different part of the Fromville.
I didn't notice that.
And I feel like maybe the third episode, well, this is like where everybody's going to notice it even more, is like, okay, where did we leave off this episode? Okay, Tabitha finds Ethan out near the RV where nobody's been to since, I don't know, season 2, maybe. It's possible.
Yeah.
Will we start off at the RV again, or them walking back, or them at the spike strip, physically in that same vicinity?
Yeah, I like when they do that, though. I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. So I appreciate when I see something pick up right where we left off.
It's like you don't miss a beat. Oh, where are we? What are we doing? No, we're right where we left off. We're good.
I didn't notice a difference, but now that you mention it, yeah.
And it's different from prior seasons, I think. I felt like it was so obvious that we kind of just were in the same exact spot that we left off in the last episode, or last season, let's say, in this case. In addition to this, I feel like they're leaning hard, and this is something we brought up invariably here and there on the podcast. They're leaning hard into the binge watch, meaning considering that we're going episode to episode and not really leaving the same spot we left off in, people can just watch this in a even more fluid fashion. There's no break in the narrative. It kind of just flows one right into the other, rather than, let's say, in season past, okay, Boyd's trapped in the well and then we were somewhere else when we start season 2. No, we're here. We're staying here and we're going to keep going.
It does feel like a binge watch thing.
It's felt more this season than in last season. I feel like it's something that we should keep our eyes on. We're all of a certain age. You know, we come from a generation that waited for commercials. We tape things on VCR,
right?
On VHS. And we cut out the commercials because we're pros. We dub VHS cassettes to other VHS cassettes. We made compilations. We recorded on SLT to get that 6 hours crammed in there with the grainy footage. So we
Very
know
grainy, yeah.
We know what's up. So I just feel like we should pay attention to that, because more and more, and I just heard this from Rachel. She said, "Oh, I'll just watch it when it's over and just binge the whole thing." Now that she knows season 5's coming out, she's like, "Yeah, let's watch it at the end. Let's watch it all together." See, Diana, we made you get an MGM Plus subscription for nothing.
You did. It's okay. I'm enjoying it. I like waiting week to week because it allows the episode to really stay with me, to think about it, to think about different things about it. Because when you binge it, which I also love, and like I just said about another TV series, it left me hanging and I didn't like it because I wanted to be able to see the next one. But at the same time, I think there's something to waiting to see something. I really do think it gives you time to think about the characters and the story, just feel what's happening before the next episode comes. So
would you say especially for a show like this?
I think it has to be on a show like this because so much is happening.
It needs mellowing. No?
Yeah, you need time in between.
I do agree. What I was going to say I do like about binging is on your wallet. It's cheaper because you're only paying for that 1 month.
Absolutely.
You can get away because they're always put as many episodes as they can to where it goes over a little bit into that next month. So you're paying the next month subscription.
Right.
So.
Well, and especially now. So, and I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if we want to go too deep into this, but it's like the state of entertainment right now. When you start seeing semi-A-list actors on gambling app commercials, or when you see actual A-list actors from films in television shows, like Nicole Kidman is basically ruining Hollywood all on her own. She's taken all the jobs away from the younger ladies, going to Stella Adler acting school, and Nicole Kidman's like giving them the middle finger. She's like, I've got all your roles. What are you going to do about it? In her own accent, which is Australian. What a bully. I say this only because during COVID, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but how in the cities, a lot of people moved away to the country / the suburbs. And then like even richer people moved into the cities. And it all kind of had this continuum. That's what's happening in Hollywood right now. All the A-list actors are like, well, I'm going to move out to the country, aka television, and basically dominate all those roles, basically. Mm-hmm. So I say this only because I think the studios are making less and less entertainment, which means people are going to feel the fact that they can't binge watch as many shows because there aren't maybe as many shows as there could be. I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope we aren't going to see any more reverberations from this. But I'm kind of conscious of this right now. You're saying you feel it in your wallet, Jason, and I think you might feel it more because shows are going to start like spacing themselves out, even though it's been kind of brutal lately. I think Diana knows what we're talking about. One show after the other. Right now, you're covering
The Testaments.
Is there anything else that you're about to cover?
I'm not covering anything right now, but of course, House of the Dragon's coming, so that would be it. Yeah.
we just recorded a Severance.
I was going to say you have a lot.
We're going through Severance now. Yeah, we're trying to cover like once a month, just to kind of like catch up. I feel like we should go
before it comes back.
It's a very elaborate way that we're covering it right now, and I just thought of another layer, Jason, of how we can do this.
Another layer, okay.
Because we're going to have 2 separate sessions for each episode. One of people who didn't see it, and one of those of us who have. Instead of doing 2 separate sessions and mashing them up like this, what we're going to do is film the innies, the people who haven't seen it, and then we're going to react to them watching the episode. So it's a little cuter and it's a little easier on the editing because then all I have to do is edit the edit.
Oh, good.
So,
okay.
And then we're also commenting on their insights, but also adding some of our own without spoiling too much for those who haven't watched it. So there's a little bit more meat in the bone with that one. And it's more fun. The Fray means a lot of things. How does the title relate to this episode? And I'm going to turn it to Diana.
The Fray to me means unraveling or breakdown. And we see that with several people here. We see it with Boyd, who is morally fraying, Acosta, who is mentally, logically fraying, Tabitha, who's emotionally fraying, and Victor, psychological regression.
There's 2 meanings to fray the edges of the fabric. Yeah. The Fray also means getting into the mix of things, like Vikings, right? Vikings, they get into lots of frays or fracases.
Yeah.
It's a loud confrontation, if I get the definition right. Where do we see that in this episode?
The one I can think of off the top of my head is Julie gets into the confrontation with the monster.
Oh, hey, okay.
I think with Acosta, her driving around, just kind of taking control or thinks she's taking control and driving around like a mad woman. I was irritated with her because of what she was doing. But at the same time, I kept thinking, that's probably what I would do.
What if it works? That was me on first watch.
Just about everyone there got a chance to do that, probably. They went around. She didn't, so she needs to have her time to do it.
She's like, I don't trust you, too.
Right. I don't trust you. There has to be a way out of here. Yeah, you kept trying it. I got here a different way than the rest of you did. So there has to be a way to get out of here. You just haven't tried enough. You guys think that you are doomed here. So that's your expectation, but I'm not stuck here. I was so irritated with her. And I kept thinking, why am I so irritated with her? Because that's what I would do. I would not trust these people. I would think that there's a way that I need to try to get out of here, but also with Boyd putting those handcuffs on her. I thought it was interesting because of everything that he has done himself and the fact that he's calling her out on this.
Yep. Especially his conversation with Elgin.
Yes, exactly. And it really struck me this whole episode of how morally gray he is. We had alluded to earlier how we watch so many other TV series where we see the leader or someone in authority take control and how we give them leeway because maybe it's not something we would do in the real world, but here we allow it or accept it. And so when we see Boyd do these things, we're like, oh, he's doing it for the good of the rest of the community. So it makes sense. But we see Acosta seeing it from a normal person's view and saying like, what the hell are you doing? You're torturing people. You can't do that. And so the fact that he put the handcuffs on her was interesting because really all she was doing was driving around the town recklessly, I guess.
Right. Doing what anybody else would, maybe even he would have done had he had an
Exactly.
ambulance to do it with at the time.
Right.
We got to find a way out. I mean, he kind of did that in season 1 by taking Sarah into the woods. I mean, that was his first descent into kind of like fluidness with the rules. I mean, considering he put Frank in the box and Frank was turned into Jim this episode, you know, Frank was the guy he punished in the box in the first episode. And he kind of just stopped doing that with Sarah. And then from then on, these little shaky, loose deals. It does go kind of to what Christy says in the last episode, though. This place has a way of making good people do bad things. Let me say 2 things to what you were just saying about the ambulance and the joyride. And I was not annoyed with Acosta. On first watch, one of the 2 things I wanted to say was, good, just do it. Just do it, Danny. You're frustrated. I get it. You're a cop. I'm trying to understand you. It's fine. But do it. See if it works. If it works, you get Christy out of there at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which would be an interesting choice considering that of all people who suffered, I mean, Christy suffered a lot, but wouldn't she suffer more because she actually leaves the town and leaves Marielle behind? That's an interesting vector of suffering. But specifically, the point I wanted to make was one of the things a couple people noticed was that the crows were missing at the tree where the pastor was initially, which could mean a lot of things. So I figured, okay, if they're not at the tree, maybe they're not guarding the loop. And so maybe...
Oh, true. Yeah.
Danny can break the loop if she goes a little faster on her little ambulance. I don't know. I was a little psyched for that. This is like a first watch brain thing. Like maybe because the crows aren't there. Second thing was really, to your point, I'm just noticing these little ticks that she has. And they sort of remind me of Boyd in a way. You'll see her sometimes. And I don't know if I didn't catch it this episode per se. She kind of does that Boyd thing of, you know, when he's getting real frustrated. I have to pull the mic over here because I'm going to do it. And Boyd gets frustrated. I don't know. And then goes up. And he kind of does that. He just kind of goes up. And he stops. And then he starts walking away. I caught her doing this last season. I played Boyd doing it in the same episode. And Danny doing it, Acosta doing it also. Side by side. Up. It's so good. So I have my eye on it. And it's ironic, right? Boyd is the sheriff of the town, quote unquote sheriff, right? He's not a real sheriff. He's just a military guy, supposed to be retired military guy. She's an actual cop. He's a rent-a-cop in a rent-a-sheriff's office, which is really a post office. So in a way, there's like an inversion. She is supposed to be the law. He is purported to be the law. But she's unraveling, right? Fraying. And he's clearly in some other place. But let's go back to Boyd. And this may be protagonist bias. But do you think his heart is in the right place? Let's go to Elgin. When he says what he says to Elgin, do you feel like he's right, even though it feels very wrong?
I do feel he's right. I've been thinking about the Elgin thing for a while. People have been feeling so sorry for him. And I've watched a lot of reviews and stuff, and I'm not on the Elgin train. I think he deserved what he got. I think that he went too far to kidnap a pregnant woman. Sarah told him that these things can trick you. He should have took her experience and listened to her, and I don't think anyone should feel sorry for him. What
does that mean? He is basically borrowing from what Donna and Christy said in the last episode. Hey, we need you to be okay. Because if you're not, this whole town is going to fall apart. I don't know if I believe that's true, but Boyd has it in his head that he believes that's true. So he's exercising that now on Elgin. The same thing he did with Sarah. Cycles are repeating now.
Yeah, true.
If you cross me sideways, if you step out of line, I'm going to shoot you.
I don't specifically think differently. I have mixed feelings about Elgin. First, I really liked him. I thought he was a key to something. And then when he was going through this, I'm like, what are you? Yeah, I thought, what are you doing? Taking a pregnant woman, all of that. Do I think he deserved it? I don't know if he deserved the extent of it, but if that's the way they were going to get the information out of him, did he want the baby or did he just want Fatima? I can't remember what he wanted to do. I don't remember his intention, but the reason I'm bringing that up, was he right to want that? Because now we know that it was Smiley reborn. Sarah had on her arm, kill the boy, right? Which seems very wrong. Get the woman that has the baby feels really wrong.
Less wrong, though, because kill the boy, that's a very clear red line. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yes, of course, exactly.
But help the baby give birth feels like, okay, but in a different place.
He thought that giving Fatima to the kimono lady would help them leave the town.
Exactly. The kimono wearing lady was there. I don't think he knew the extent to what would happen really. But he just knew she had to be at this place at this time. There would be meet cute between Fatima and the kimono wearing lady. I don't know. But other than that, I forget Elgin's exact words. It was something about the baby being born being the key to them leaving the town. As far as how, we don't know. He doesn't know about the bargain that the grown-ups made with the town to give up their children to live forever, as Fatima found out. And we even said last week, maybe as horrible and as traumatic and as postpartum and all the bad things, post-miscarriage depression, all that stuff, like all the things that one could have and have nothing to show for it as well. Another inversion. Not only that, but you rebirth the very monster that tried to kill everybody basically in the town. And especially if Smiley was one of the key figures in the initial Colony House monster raid, because the guy lets the girlfriend monster in through the bathroom window, and then Smiley comes in too and he goes, "Hey everybody," and kills everybody.
All right.
He's been terrifying her in specific and her Colony House buddies for a while. But anyway, that's who she gave birth to, or what she gave birth to. But what if Elgin sort of is right? Because all of that transpired. Fatima had the baby in the place that she was supposed to have the baby. One of the things I said was, what if she had to go through that? And now she has something that will help her in experience. She does walk away with this knowledge of the bargain we see at the beginning of the season. Oh, they gave the kids up to this thing. They made a bargain and then they live forever. She couldn't see what thing, what entity or whatever it was that they made a bargain with. She couldn't, and Boyd is harassing her on the bed. I don't know, harassing her, but she's feeling it. It's like, I told you. But yeah, so she has this knowledge now as a result of it. Now, is that the key?
Yeah, I feel you on that. True.
Maybe.
That could help.
Or like everything else, it's a lie.
Well, and these messages, okay, so who is giving Elgin these messages? And then who is the person writing on Sarah's arm? We assume it's
in the first season,
evil.
when I first saw the arm stuff, I thought it was the boy in white that was trying to help them.
Okay, so that's leading me to kill the boy. And we're thinking, oh, Ethan is this young, innocent boy. And then, of course, I see theories about who this boy could be. Ethan, how he could possibly be the man in yellow.
I've heard that one.
And so I thought for a moment, if that was true, then kill the boy would make sense. Because then it would be whoever's trying to help them or assist them in this town. Now, I don't know that that's true. Of course, they say, oh, look, he's worn yellow T-shirts and maybe he grows up to be this. And maybe that's why he knows certain things. I thought, whoa, that puts us on a whole new level there.
It says the exact same thing that the man in yellow says.
Exactly.
You can't change the story or something.
Once you see the story, you can't undo its actions. And I'm thinking, though, even though they say that, is that really true in itself? Just because you say it doesn't make it true. I
have an affinity for this form of not time travel per se, but this idea that even if you could time travel, everything that has happened has already happened. I mean, you really can't change anything. All you're doing is revealing what has already happened. Everything that led you to be able to time travel has already happened already. There's no butterfly effect, effectively. Everything that has been done is already done. You're just visiting the moment at which it happened. You're just revealing what's already happened, even if you're the one who's doing it. I like it because it's neater. You have to work harder as a writer to make that fit. What gave him the idea to time travel to begin with? Himself, right? Then you have the grandfather paradox, but whatever. It's fun if you do it right. Just like we all like time travel, but as long as they follow the rules.
Yeah.
But it's annoying. And especially in a series that we know there's a ceiling. We know that season 5 is the last one. And if you're going to come up with a theory, this is just maybe my opinion, where, oh, Ethan's the man in yellow, just not there yet. Well, okay, fine. But you've got 10 episodes this season to do that. And then 10 episodes probably to do it in the next season. Now what? How are you going to get there? It's not a lot of episodes. But the break-even version of this theory, which I can get down with because, like I said, there are many people who assume the same identities. I'll say it like Boyd and Acosta. You've got 2 doctors. You've got Marielle and Christy. They happen to be girlfriends. Ethan and the man in yellow could be the same archetype. I'll get to the evidence in a second, but the man in yellow seems to be omnipresent. He's aware of the story as it's happening and also as it should be. He's not a story walker per se, but he knows how the story goes. Maybe he knows its cycles. He knows the key plot points. He knows what's supposed to happen. but he seems to have an awareness of what should happen. Now, is Ethan aware of this power? I don't know. Maybe if Ethan made himself see his dad this episode, that could be an indicator. He really, really wanted to see him and he made it happen. You're cutting back and forth between these different scenes. And of course, we're going from Sarah to quote unquote Sophia, and you're going to Kenny and Boyd, and then you're going to Boyd and Jade and the church, and then you're going back to Sophia. But here's this quick scene that happens. Tabitha finally opens the sack, and it's a goat and guts, maybe even Jim's guts, by the way, just to kind of add a little flavor to that stew.
That's true. Now that you mention it, yeah.
Seems like a lot for one goat.
He didn't have any, right? So yeah.
Then at the same time, the kids go to the very barn they were told to kind of, just chill out. And it looks like a murder barn, let's be honest. They open the door and they find Jim hanging in a similar fashion to the sack.
Yeah.
But then we go right to Sophia with Kenny. Sophia's praying over her dad's dead corpse.
Crying, but smiling at the same time.
First thing you see is her smiling because right before that, Tabitha opens the sack. So what does that tell you? Omnipresent. She knows what's happening. She, gross, quote unquote, Sophia knows what's happening.
Right.
She's like, oh, it's delicious. The grieving mother. Oh, and the grieving kids right at the same time. Gross. So we know there's an awareness. Gross.
Okay. Of course. Yeah.
I don't know if you feel this sometimes, but there are key moments in the story. Season 3, we felt it when the monsters brutally tore into Tien Chan. And this, Sophia's gleeful, murderous smile right afterwards. And also the malicious, marauding smile at the end of last episode. I sometimes forget this is a horror show. I get so wrapped up in the mystery that like, oh, this is pretty intense.
Yeah, but I do want to say that as you were talking, I'm thinking Sophia is smiling as she's crying. And we see Ethan see his dad. I was just spreading out the theory there. I don't know if I truly believe that he is the man in yellow, but I'm thinking to myself, if he was, then
maybe
that would be his younger self seeing his father in that way. That would just blow my mind so much further.
That could twist him, you think?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
could
that's what
that
I've been
twist
thinking.
him?
Yeah. Events like that are going to change him to become the man in yellow.
Because I want to be on that train. I actually really do. But how do you get the audience to climb aboard that choo-choo train?
I don't know that I want to believe that, right? I'm just putting it out there, but it just seems so crazy because it's a kid and I don't want that to be for him.
Right.
I want good to happen to them who might survive or get out or whatever it might be. So I don't want that to be, but man, that would be a really good
impetus
storyline.
Yeah, it would be. One thing that we also said in the last episode, when you really, really think about all the individual people you meet in the town, and some of them are kind of annoying. Do you remember Donna's not husband, but it's actually her real life husband? The guy that ends up merged into the pool because he went to the faraway tree.
Oh yeah.
That's her real life husband. Yes. That's the actor's real life husband.
Okay.
Even though that guy existed and was kind of dodgy, the conclusion we came to was, I don't think the people in this town, at least when they come in, are fundamentally bad. I think they're actually good people that have experienced either tragedy or what have you. There's some clear stories where, look at Stevens, Abby, Boyd, and Ellis. They were just talking about retiring. There's a boat, life well lived, all that other stuff. Khatri did have kind of a bit of a tragic story. The Myers, Sarah and her brother, they ran away from home because they ran away from a bad situation for Sarah. But tragic or not, these were just generally good people.
Seems like it.
You start to think, do they deserve this? Is this a Job situation where we test good people to see if they'll break, like Boyd, right? Oh, we're going to break you, Boyd, in season 3. But then you start thinking, okay, well, then if this is Ethan, the man in yellow, who turns into Sophia, gross. Yeah. Think about that for a second. Then does evil win? That's what bugs me, is that these are good people. Even Randall. What makes him bad? He's like Acosta right now. When we first came in, rough around the edges, right? But like, I don't believe you guys for anything. What are these rules? Like, even though he was annoying, he's still a good guy. He had a gift for his niece. The whole purpose of why he was out there. He just doesn't trust these people. I don't owe you anything. And he's right. If the show can convince me that this is how it should be, I would be very impressed, actually. Again, I want to go on that Ethan is just the worst. And yeah, he does yell at his mom. I hate you. So like, you're kind of a little part of the way there. But still, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not their fault. Come on.
On second watch, when he was throwing stuff around the room, I was like, well, that stuff was getting thrown around the room by the ghost in the first episode.
So you have a feeling. And I think maybe there's something to it. He was asleep when that happened. The pot falling over. Well, he saw the cabinets though.
Yeah, they all eventually went into the kitchen.
Okay, let's go here. What is Jim right now?
End of episode Jim?
Yeah, end of episode Jim.
Is that Ethan just thinking it's his dad, or there's something more to it? What's interesting and makes me think there's more to it is that he looks out in the woods like something is affecting him. And that wouldn't be in Ethan's thoughts.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't think it would be in Ethan's thoughts. So he's reacting to something.
Turning back to hear something or someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it twice. Looks around a lot more than the second time.
Like time's running out.
Is he a story walker? Yeah. Is he seeing something else going on, like another dimension, and he's seeing Julie off into the side doing something? They're running away from monsters. I don't know. There's like something going on. Or someone out there telling him something. Makes me feel like there's something we can't see that he can.
Yeah, he's getting information that he needs to relay, maybe. That's kind of what it felt to me. The first real question I asked was, what is that? Is he a ghost?
Yeah, is he a ghost? Did they touch? They hugged, right?
Yeah, okay, it was like a physical contact.
But just because you hug doesn't mean... I mean, that still could have been going through Ethan's head. We've seen that with other people, too.
The Father Kotrig ghost,
right,
quote unquote.
Exactly.
And I think the boy in yellow had a similar affect where I think he's heard things as he's talking to Victor or Ethan or Sarah. He's talked to Tabitha too. Right. But the times we've seen him kind of look back and go, no, you're not supposed to do that. It's similar to what Jim did, I think. So that kind of brings into question, okay, then are they the same thing? Are we talking about something that has died? Oh no, my brain went somewhere else all of a sudden for some reason. Now I'm trying to tell myself, don't talk about that. Okay, now we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Do you know why? It's the things we forget. I keep rummaging around the yard sale that's my brain right now. The Kotri ghost obviously comes back, starts bullying Boyd, like a big jerk. But then there's this one thing that hasn't really come back yet. And it may come back this season because we keep alluding to it. Do you remember when Sarah and Boyd were out in the woods and Boyd stumbles into this spider's web nest thing in this fever dream hallucinatory state sort of situation? He sees Allie Stevens, his wife, and then never again. I just wonder about that now that we're talking about things that shouldn't be there, like Jim and the boy in white. Because then what does that mean? With what we know now, right? It's what the man in yellow said. They know too much. They have to be a gross girl named Sophia. Did you hear the theory about Acosta being a younger version of Allie Stevens? I've heard this one lately. And you know what? That would make sense. I don't want to talk about this too much, but it would make sense that he was so mad at Acosta because look at what you made me do. You made me kill you because you turned your gun at our own boy. She doesn't know that she's young Allie. Is it Allie? Abby Stevens. I knew I was getting it wrong. Abby Stevens. I don't know. I feel like there's something to it. Also, like you hate in others what you hate in yourself. You see a little bit of yourself in Acosta, and you're like, let's hate her a little bit.
Right. Well, and I was thinking that's exactly what Boyd would have done too. Boyd's not one to sit around and just take what other people have to say and follow it. Right. He would have tried to figure out another way.
Right. Remember, Boyd was the one who went to the woods. He got all these goats and animals and stuff. Like, oh, they're just sitting there where nobody would, right? Because that's where the monsters are.
Yeah.
What are you doing? There's nothing out there but monsters. Well, it happens to be produce and livestock. I'm curious. We all believe in the accident because we're not all married. But hopefully one day soon, Jason.
One day soon, yeah. I'm already 44.
I got married at 37. It'll happen. I say this only because, when you keep something from your spouse, what did Elgin say? The truth always finds a way to come out. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you think he might be right?
I definitely think it's going to come out to the town. Yeah, some way or another.
Will that be the thing that basically tears everybody apart? I'll tell you why I think so too. If you're going to clip the box on the way in, do you remember that punishment box that Boyd had at the beginning of the season when they got Frank? So on the way in, she clips this with the car, takes the steering wheel and hits the sheriff's station. And she hits it right on the way in. And it's not busted.
Okay.
As far as we know, it's not busted. But they do this twice, right? Remember, they show the sequence twice. Once at the beginning, once at the end. Somewhat in the beginning. You're not going to clip a box if you're not going to use it. And here's the thing. Here's my question. Will they? I feel like they might. And if so, on who?
Throw Boyd in the box when they find out.
I wasn't thinking that.
Oh, you weren't.
Actually, that went across my mind when you said that. I'm like, who's going to go in the box? Would it be Boyd? But for some reason, if they put Boyd in the box, I feel like he would survive it somehow.
Oh, and if it is broken-ish, it did hit the box a little bit. Then he would find a way. Well, and then wouldn't that also put the town in a little bit of turmoil? Because to get them to rise up against Boyd, if the truth did come out, and to have put him in the box, and for him to have escaped, right? These people are going to go a little... And see, in order for us to believe that that could happen, we have to believe that Donna, Christy, Marielle, all these people that are sort of kind of, they're okay with Boyd. Look at Donna taking after the Matthews. Colony house is their thing. Yeah. Never the twain shall meet, right? You live here or there.
True, yeah.
And just F off. Don't come here in this neighborhood or you get shot. No, that's not happening. They're all loosey-goosey with each other now. So we have to get to that point. And I feel like we're getting there-ish, but it's going to take a little bit more. And I think the truth coming out would be, Jason, I had not thought for 1 second, because protagonist bias, I didn't think for 1 second.
I think he does have some plot armor. Him and Sarah were the ones that tortured Elgin.
Well, but it was actually Sarah, right, that actually physically
did the torturing for, yeah. But what if, see, now you've got my wheels turning, Jason. Acosta did convince the town that Boyd was the one to do this. There would be a little bit of poetry. I'll tell you why. Boyd puts Frank in the box. Everybody, Frank in the box. Sounds like a Jack in the Box. Anyway, puts Frank in the box for obviously righteous reasons. He was drunk in the bar rather than adamantly telling his wife and kid to nail down the windows, right? You were supposed to nail down the windows, Frank. That's why your girl got killed. Now you got to go in the box. Okay. Sarah almost killed Ethan, did kill her brother, actively killed her brother, right? Not like didn't nail the windows shut. No, you literally slit your brother's throat. Now, I don't think she meant to kill her brother. She did mean to kill Ethan. Didn't happen, but still. She should have been in the box. She wasn't. She was rescued for this project that they had where they met Spider Abby Stevens. Fine. We thought we'd get answers. No, of course not. It's from. But she didn't go into the box. Okay. Let's think in the morals of Boyd for Frank. Even though Boyd didn't take out Elgin's eye, he did start the process and ordered Sarah to do it. The very person he spared from the box. Right. So now, Jason, I'm kind of sold on the concept. Now, it would make perfect sense that the monsters or whatever competing interests in this town wouldn't let that happen, because that would make it so much more chaotic for him to be spared. It's my every thought now, Jason.
Funny.
It's my every thought.
You did it. You destroyed me. Now I can't think of anything else. And that would be the end of the season too. How frustrating.
Boyd in the box. Yeah.
How frustrating.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see it this season where the town tears each other apart. Jim ends up saying at the end to Ethan, he wants him to find the Lake of Tears. We've seen that in the drawings. Victor's drawings?
Do we?
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there would be Victor's drawings.
It combines what you were saying earlier with the spider web forest too, because we see a dangling spider and then tears or water droplets in the picture that Victor draws.
Oh, like in the title sequence, right?
Maybe.
I feel like there is some
Does Jim want them to find that for nefarious reasons?
Let's go a tiny bit further back. Is this Jim? We think it might be a ghost. It might be a Khatri situation. Fine. Boy in white, maybe, which says that the boy in white isn't a story walker. He would be a ghost of some kind. But is it a malicious thing? Is it just a manifestation? I know what you all want to believe. Okay. We just lost Jim. We want it to be a good dad, whole Jim, don't we?
Yeah.
But this town, it makes you rethink the feelings that you have.
Well, you're making me think all kinds of things, because you're right. Do I want it to be that he just left? He's trying to give his son good advice. That's what I want. But you're right. We're in this world. And the fact that he was looking back, what does that mean? It probably isn't a manifestation. It probably is something more. But is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I'm still leaning toward it being good for some reason.
Especially after the second watch. The first time I saw it, it looked like he could be somebody else or just posing as Jim. But the second time, there's like this somber music playing and
gets me right here.
Everything he was saying was to the point, but it looked like he wanted to tell Ethan something.
Yeah, and we kind of sort of trust figures that, because last time we saw Jim, he's a little disheveled, a little dirty. This Jim is very polished, made up, kind of like when we see Father Khatri as a ghost. Prim, made up, he's lost a little weight, looking pretty good, Father Khatri. But Jim is looking real good. His beard is trimmed, his hair is not disheveled, he looks great. So we want to kind of believe. It's like that kind of beauty bias. You kind of want to believe that this is a good figure.
Right.
I don't know what to trust. The only thing I can say about this is I've had theories about what the Lake of Tears could be. and I have two.
Oh, good. Okay.
One is an awful one. But let's go to the good one first. When Ethan brought this up at first, I thought, okay, well, what if the Crominuncle stories, what if it's part of the whole thing? Of course you're thinking that. The first body of water we see is the one that Fatima takes Julie to with Alice. I forget they had a specific name for it. Yeah. It's going to bug me now.
Yeah.
I Googled it. It says, cutting to the Occam's razor of it, says in the beginning of the show Julie takes Fatima to the Lake of Tears. It's so weird. A significant location plays a crucial role.
That's the Lake of Tears. Okay.
No, but they've
already found it.
There's a name that Fatima used. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'll find it in my notes somewhere. It was such an odd name. Do you remember like when you first read or watched the It miniseries and they called it the Pine Barrens? And like, wait, what are Pine Barrens? I've never heard of those two words together. I've heard of pines. I've heard of barons. Hey everybody, post-recording Future Dave butting in here during my editing of this episode, and I just wanted to mention that we figured out what the location Fatima takes Julie to with Alice was called, and it's called the Brundles. And I thought as long as I'm breaking in here, I might as well discuss what that actually means in real life, as well as within the context of the show, some cool references that may or may not have anything to do with anything else. In general English, the Brundles, quote unquote, is not a standard colloquial term or a common slang word. It's not any universally recognized meaning in the way that everyday slang does. However, looking at its etymology, regional usage, and pop culture connections, there are a few interesting ways to break it down. If you look at the linguistic roots, Brundle, quote unquote, is a real surname in the UK that derives from the town of Brundall in Norfolk, England. The name comes from Old English, roughly translating to a small area of dry land with an abundance of broom, meaning a type of yellow, brushy shrub, or an elevated area surrounded by marshland. In the context of the show From, the Brundles is a local swimming hole / lake surrounded by brush and woods, which fits this classic geographical description quite well. While not a common term, there are a couple of niche or regional slang associations. In some rural parts of the American South, people use the word quote-unquote brundles or quote-unquote brundle to describe an overgrown messy patch of thorn bushes, briars, or blackberry brambles. In portmanteau, it is occasionally used as a regional or family-specific slang contraction of a quote-unquote bunch and a quote-unquote bundle. Example, a brundle of sticks, meaning a messy pile. And, can't believe I'm saying this, in modern American slang, people sometimes confuse it with the word grundle, which is a crude colloquial term for the perineum, or slang for taint. This is where it gets really interesting. Pop culture references. Because brundle isn't a standard word, many fans of From have speculated that the name is a deliberate Easter egg or reference by the writers. One of them is The Fly, the 1986 movie. The protagonist of David Cronenberg's classic horror film is Dr. Seth Brundle, who famously invents a teleportation device that goes horribly wrong when his DNA merges with a fly, becoming the Brundle fly. Given that From heavily involves themes of spatial distortion and teleportation via the faraway trees, some fans think the Brundles is a subtle nod to the film. There's also an old, obscure computer game, hey, it's not that old, okay, I guess it is old, called The Brundles, which is a clone of the puzzle game Lemmings, where the goal is to guide mindless creatures through a series of traps and obstacles to a designated exit, a metaphor that fits the trapped residents of the town perfectly. We now return you to your regularly scheduled podcast, and I hope you appreciated this explanation. It's just a weird thing to call a place. Just to give you the full picture, it's steps away from Colony House. It's this little body of water. It's not a lake. It's not a river. It's like a little pond of some kind that they call a specific thing, and they're like swimming around in it. And Julie's looking at it, and she's like, it could be great here. And, she's falling in love with, which is interesting because here's another thing you kind of forget. Julie like having this kind of crush on both Ellis and Fatima.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right? Yeah. Things you kind of just forget about. Why did that happen? And where did that go? And why hasn't it come up again? And of course, the Colony House slaughterhouse kind of puts the kibosh on all of that, because that was when she confronts, oh my God, could that mean something? That's when she confronts Fatima and Ellis, or Fatima at least, about her feelings towards her. Like, oh, why can't I kiss you, etc. Right? And then people get murdered. She got awkward. Maybe because she felt awkward, she got everybody killed too. Like what happened was supposed to happen. Sorry, my mind is going wild.
Forgot about that.
That's okay.
So that was one of my Lake of Tears things. But I think the other one could be the pool itself. The pool with no motel. It is literally a lake of Donna's tears over her lover person. Mm-hmm. That's the one I didn't like. Not because
Yeah,
it's not a
me
good
either.
idea.
Because Jim would have known that already if it's the real Jim, since he was there, right?
Right. Okay, Jason.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
doesn't he just tell him where it is? Or why can't he? Maybe he doesn't know. He's just getting some info. I don't know what it is, but they're telling me. Look for the Lake of Tears. It seems important.
Yeah, from
Right. What? Yeah, from these guys. Yeah, from whoever. I just turned around, podcast audience, and I just heard voices. I'm crazy. I am crazy. The show makes me crazy.
Because you had asked, what do we think Jim is and what is he doing? At first I thought, well, I really want him to be a good person because it's his dad and he's showing him the way. He's telling him, look, what did I tell you before? See, I'm teetering both ways because in saying that, it makes me think that means he knows the history. So if he knows the history, it must be his dad, because why would he say, do you remember what I said before? We need to stick together. That makes me feel like, oh, it is Jim somehow. But then we've seen so many times that this town has used manipulation through loved ones. It weaponizes trust. You can't trust anything because of that, because you don't want to be duped. You're like, I don't want to, be sucked into that and think that that's true. Ethan heard Thomas's voice on the radio.
That's a good point.
And
God bless this guy.
Yeah.
Wants to radio the real Thomas so that he can find his dad.
Right.
As though he could make that happen. Oh, like the man in yellow. Kidding. You know what that instantly makes me think of? It's not really a side tangent, but it's kind of what Tabitha says to Jade. Freudian slip in both episodes, really, kind of. She says to Jade, well, I don't know that that's what's real. I don't know that that's what's supposed to happen, that we're supposed to save the children that were sacrificed. What if this place is making me think that that's what should happen? And look at Jade when he comes into the town. He instantly thinks it's what? He thinks it's a escape the room, just a grand escape room. What did the monsters give him but clues? Musical notes. I should have known that. I play the violin. It's the thing I least suspected. But Jim figured it out. He figured out his own mystery box. But see how Jade is just a believer after not really being a believer of any kind? What do we have to do to get these people to be completely opposite of what they normally are? Boyd unravel and become an otherwise retired person, feel like he's putting on this burden every day, an otherwise person who should be at a boat living out the rest of his days. Right. Now he's just burdened. Going back to this town in general, what would be the one thing to get Ethan to, first of all, snap out of hating his mom, but then to kind of put his boots on and get on board with the mystery of this place? Well, let's see your dad. And what are your dad? Your dad is giving you the hero's journey quest, right? An old sage figure, wizened voice, the wise dad, giving you these instructions on what to do. Diana, I'm making it worse. It's not fun.
I
don't like it. Because I want to believe, but this town has conditioned me to not trust it.
Right. It's hard to trust anything.
Ugh.
And as you were talking about Jim, and I'm thinking Tabitha, how she went and saw him at the church and how she is now telling him how when she first met him, she was so in love with him and what is she going to do now and how much she loves him. And I think, well, you guys came here on the rocks. And your relationship has been on edge with each other. And it's like it's taking his death for her to realize what they meant to each other. And I know that happens in so many relationships. You don't realize how much you care about someone until they're gone or until tragedy strikes in one way or another. It's so different that it's taken this to make her realize all that.
What's the result? It makes me think, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't thought about this specific piece. But the thing that touched me the most about that interaction was that she tells him, it's okay, you can rest. That touched me.
She said, don't be afraid.
Of course, soon after, Jim does come to see Ethan. There's like a call and response in that. Did she invoke Jim in a way? Well, the first thing she says is, obviously, I'm afraid that you didn't know that I fell in love with you at first sight. I'm afraid that I didn't tell you enough or tell you in the final moments that I love you. But then when she says, don't be afraid, like I got this kind of thing, I feel like the call to that response is, well, I see how much you've been suffering and struggling and trying to figure this out. For us, you were so worried and you wanted to solve this so hard so that we can go home. Something like Christy said in the ambulance too, all the people who tried to figure this out, Jim is one of those.
End up dead. Yeah.
So I feel like her saying that was saying, I see why you did what you did. I see why you were so obsessed. I see why you worked so hard. I see what made us trapped here to begin with. You thought that hey, if we can get us all in an RV and we can have one last trip, that maybe something can shift. And boy, howdy, did it shift. To your point, Diana, the whole thing changed. The whole thing went upside down in a positive way too. I realized that I am and still am in love with you. But her saying that was like, I see how much you suffered. I see how much this hurt you. And I see how much you were trying to get us home. And I mention this really only because I feel like her feelings, that recognition of some kind of the torment that it was, like a dad, he's trying to get his wife and kids home. It's like his only thing on his mind is to figure this out, even though it was hurting him and his relationship too. Yeah. Every time he tried. And his life, by the way, we get to see that moment where he was trying really, really hard to save everybody and how the monsters came out and that whole thing. We get to see where that almost went wrong. And then he just stopped trying after that until the musical notes. Oh, yeah, this might be musical notes. Like, what? What? I say this because I'm trying to make you a believer again. Why not? Why not? I'm not saying the Unkui kids, and that's the way. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying maybe there's something to it. Maybe these people have a hand in how things happen. If you feel hard enough about something, you can make it happen. And maybe it's just limited to certain people. I've said Tabitha is the Chromonocle at one point way back.
Oh,
like that maybe she can will certain things into existence. Kind of like Ethan. I don't, maybe. Well, they're both Matthews. So
yeah.
Julie's a story walker.
She was able to get out of the town. Yeah.
Right. What a talented family. Maybe. See, I'm trying to make you crazy is really what it is.
The show does, yeah.
It's a show in this town. Right. There's so many ways it can go.
Let's finish off the Jim part. The one question I want to know is, do you think this is the last we'll see of Jim?
No.
I have a feeling that we won't.
Oh, I hope not.
I know. I hate it. I hate me. I give you all this hope.
Me, no.
Well, in the credits, he's not a main titled credit person with special guest Ian Bailey. So he's not like a main cast. He was in the first episode. Technically, I think they might have filmed that at the end of season 3 to get the, the mileage out of Ian Bailey. But then the one cameo is seeing him all fresh faced, like, oh, thank God I'm out of here. That's the last you'll see of me. It's sad, but I feel like that may be it. But see, caveat, I'd love to be wrong. I love Ian Bailey. I was not a Jim Matthews hater. I'm a Jim Matthews lover, guys. You know how that sounds. I'm not apologizing. I rooted for him, just like with Danny Acosta driving that damn ambulance. I'm like, no, you go, girl. You may be annoying, but if you can get out,
annoying.
I won't be annoyed anymore. I'll be like, kudos, chapeau, hats off to you. Wouldn't your opinion of her turn just completely upside down, like the Matthews relationship?
Right.
If she had gotten out with Christy, that would be amazing. Aren't we awful for thinking that? Right? Aren't we the worst because we thought of her one way? And then she got out.
Yeah. If they did get out, I see Christy coming back just the way Tabitha did for some reason.
Oh, right. Because can they ever
I think she would
leave?
want to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. We were saying this in the last episode too. We're like, did Tabitha ever leave? What does that make Henry?
We did bring that up.
What does that make Victor's dad? What is that? This freaking show. See, this is why Rachel and Charity jumped off. It's like, no. They're just doing whatever they want. See, it's a Stanley Milgram experiments. They're like, no, let's just see how far we can push them before they turn off the TV. Right? Screw you.
Julie story walking. Probably my favorite part of the episode when she took Randall down to the
ruins.
Right. At first, did you feel like it wasn't going to work? I had this weird impression. To capitulate to my feeling, she tells him to go test it out.
Yeah.
Poor Randall, first of all. He hates this place. But he does this for Julie. There's a sweetness to it. They're confirming my bias. She can't do this. It's not going to work.
Yeah. No, I thought they were going to have to do some kind of sleuthing or something to
like a special
eventually
ceremony.
Get it to work. Yeah.
Well, and she tells him, don't pull me out. Even if it looks like I need to be pulled out, don't pull me out. And then she's all, Randall, and he can't hear her. I'm thinking, oh man, she needs to be pulled out. Is he going to pull her out on time?
Right. It's not like Ethan struggling to get Julie out the first time.
So she story walks and she's able to interact with the monster. The monster can touch her, can grab her, sees her.
New information. Sees her, grabs her, maybe even able to hurt her?
I would imagine so, but we didn't get that far. So how do we know that for sure? Her dad didn't hear her. Donna, none of them heard her yell out.
It is ironic though, isn't it? Julie story walks around maybe the same time Jim appears in the same spot. What's that about?
No, I didn't think about that. Yeah, near the RV.
Yeah, both near the RV. See, Julie story walks to Jim's second night at the RV, or the last time at the RV. Last time it was habitable until all hell broke loose. Ethan happens to also get the radio from there, sees his dad, right? Tabitha ends up there. All the Matthews end up where they started, sort of.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then that kind of makes me ask the question, how does Julie's story walking work? She traveled to where Boyd was in the well. Then she kind of further traveled to where her mom was in the tunnels with Victor. Is that what it was?
I don't remember.
Yeah, she was in the tunnels.
I started to think, okay, how are these being guided?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Ethan somehow, some way or another? I don't think so. But the theory about the old decrepit guy might be Randall. We have no reason to think it is because they were looking at his widow's peak or lack thereof.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right.
That was the guy that was chained up?
Yeah, exactly. The gross guy.
Okay.
With his fingernails gross. Similar kind of features to him, like same kind of brow, facial structure kind of situation.
Good point.
How does that work? And who is in control of that? Is she in control of that? What was her goal? Her goal was to stop Jim from getting killed.
Right.
And this is one of those times, basically. And maybe her yelling out dad. Right now, I want to go back to that episode and see if we heard her saying dad in the middle of the night.
Originally, yeah.
I kind of want to hear it now. Hey everyone, Future Dave back again. What's interesting about Julie's story walking back to where Jim, Randall, Boyd, and Donna are trapped in the RV. This is in season 2, episode 9, the penultimate episode of season 2. There are a couple noteworthy things that happen in and around that particular point in time. Now, I took a minute to watch basically the entire episode, and this is around the time when the music box is terrifying the town along with the cicadas with Julie, Marielle, and Randall. And at this point, nobody is allowed to sleep lest whatever this music box thing does basically brutally murders them. So here's what ends up happening. Around the time that the monsters start nearing the RV, they stop a certain distance away from the RV as though they're waiting for something. And then that thing happens, and it's the music box playing over the very radio that Ethan picks up in this episode and puts into his backpack. The very radio that, by the way, has been smashed. Yet this music is playing through the radio. Randall even remarks on how it can't be, it's not plugged in, the radio isn't working. Another thing that ends up happening is as the music is playing, you see the number 47 in the radio's frequency or LED screen. You don't get to hear Julie scream out dad in this episode, which is interesting. And you see where every one of Boyd's shots lands, save for a few which are from his point of view. So did Julie's story walk? Let's leave you with one more little factoid. Randall escaping is what spurs everybody to leave the RV, since the monsters are at a perimeter anyway, and they all sprint to the van whose keys were thrown, I think, by Randall at some point, which is why they had to stay at the RV. Jim hotwires the van and they move on. But as Randall's running away, it's at this point that the cicadas come after him and knock him down and start climbing into his mouth, etc. So it's interesting that this is the point at which Julie's story walks into. One more little factoid is Boyd is the last one out of the RV. The lights start flickering, and then he sees his wife, Abby, and she says, "Come back to me." All of this coinciding this really, really poignant episode. One last thing to kind of leave you guys off with is something that I had thought about before I even looked at this scene, or this episode even, is Chrissy's conversation with Ellis as they're trying to figure out what to do with Marielle, who's clearly going through withdrawal symptoms. And she explains the Great Ball of Fire, which is our sun, and how we take for granted the terrifying things that provide us with warmth, the right amount of light for our crops to grow and to have in existence on this planet, and how there are tons of terrifying things or even unknown things that we take for granted are absolutely terrifying under a different perspective. Something to consider when it comes to the series. With all that said, I return you to our regularly scheduled podcast. It's like they planned it all along. It's not like Lost where they're just making it up along the way.
Not like Lost. Oh my God.
We're going to find out, Future Dave, who's going to edit this episode.
Future Dave. What about Jade?
I know you just saw the episode, but so I don't know if you had time, but did you happen to look at all his stuff that he had in the background?
I did.
Boyd and
Ellis was there. It's interesting that Ellis is there because he hears Fatima say, "Oh, they made the bargain with the whole thing." But he's there to witness all this stuff. He's there carrying Jim's body to the church. I will say this again because we said this in the last episode. There's a lot more information sharing that is happening in these last 2 episodes than ever before on From. They're all sharing information where they did not before. It's because it's all unraveling. Fray. It's all afraid.
Yeah.
They don't care if they think they're crazy anymore. Danny doesn't. Boy doesn't care. And if that's what makes them all fall apart, actually sharing information, I hate it because it's the one thing we want them to do. But knowledge comes at a cost. Well, if that was not painted out on the barn, it wouldn't have prompted Boyd to prod Jade, or not Brit. He was just happened to be there. But now Jade is sharing his whole theory and Boyd is lapping it up. Yeah, maybe there's something to it. Work harder. I hated that. Jim's death had to happen for that to be revealed, but it makes me wonder if that was the intention all along. Does the man in yellow want to bait that hook so that people continue on these little hamster wheels? Is that what makes the whole thing fall apart? Is them actually trying to solve the mystery? This is rough. But I did see some of the factoids, by the way. It talks about timelines. Like 1981 was about the time the victim.
He had all the dates, and I couldn't make it out, but I've seen other people talk about it. They're able to zoom in.
It's not terribly interesting. It's stuff that we kind of just already know with a little extra. Like the 1981-ish is what it says on the thing, but is when the Victor massacre thing happens. That
81?
Calamity.
His sister Eloise and his mom.
Right. They mentioned found her
Yes,
maybe.
there's speculation that Eloise could be alive.
We talked about that last episode a little bit.
The one thing that was silly, it was like, oh, Victor's alive, exclamation points. But Eloise question mark dead? Stuff we already know. The animated way, because it's Jade. You have to remember this Jade writing this. He's like,
That's true.
I'm manic. So that's how I write. Okay, let's point out the one thing that I thought was kind of interesting. That is, again, we're forgetting things. But this episode does a good job in the last episode too of reminding us by way of recycling or repeating cycles. What was the pastor if not Jade and his friend Toby crashing into the town, or almost crashing into the Matthews? The death of the pastor by Sophia, quote unquote, hands was very similar to Sarah killing Toby. Because you remember Sarah was spending the night, had the heart to heart with Christy. Okay, she kills Toby. And then what does she do? She takes the talisman and leaves the clinic door open. And what happens? Yeah. Kenny's father dies. And so who's asleep on the job the very night the Sophia thing happens but Kenny? And why is he so mad at Sophia when she steps out? Marielle's like, what are you doing? Why are you so mad at her? But we know that he's so mad at her because that's how his dad got killed, brutally murdered. And so Kenny has to apologize for losing his top. We all kind of suspect that they're trying to make Kenny sympathetic towards Sophia, right? I feel like that's where this is going. She just lost her dad.
Right.
It's like a you hating others sort of situation. Like, yo, you let your dad die. Like I let my dad die. So cycles repeat. That's what was on the board too. When me and Toby enter the town, blah, 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 today. And that's what I'm saying. I don't like where they're going with this, but everybody's like, oh, it's like another Glenn. It's like The Walking Dead. We have to fear for Kenny's life now because he's like literally the last one of them. Season 1, it's his dad. Season 3, it's his mom. Maybe it's season 5 that he gets it, right? See, 135?
135. Oh my God.
See, they're going to bait the hook,
no.
Right? Season 4, it's not going to happen because you're going to think it's going to happen. But season 5, he gets it because it's the last Lou in the Lou family. What a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
See? I have to keep taking hope away from you.
Yeah, I don't like it. Now I follow you, and now I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I don't like me either. I told you.
It's no good.
Hate me.
Is that what you wanted to say about Jade, Diana? Or
no, I just was thinking about Jade offering that information and also about his conversation with Tabitha.
Yeah.
He says, now we know for sure it's real. And she's like, I don't give a crap if it's real.
Right.
I've lost this. I don't want to lose anyone else. And thinking about why it was Jim, that was the dad. That was the protector, the father of 2 children there. He's the husband and he's a good man. And so for her to lose that is a lot. So that is a lot of power that they have to make them stop. Where if it had been Jade, because she says it should have been you, Jade doesn't really have anyone to lose.
Jade only has his theories. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it had been him also, how much do other people care about him? I mean, yeah, sure, people care about other people, but it's not like he has a significant other there fighting for him. So I think that they had to go for someone like Jim to really hit hard and for us to say, oh, shoot, if that happened to me, what would I do next? You don't want to lose anybody else. She doesn't want to lose her kids. Her kids don't want to lose their mom. So it kind of stops them in their tracks. But at the same time, you're getting close. Otherwise, they wouldn't put these obstacles in front of you.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Does it make this a 2 things can be true situation? That, yeah, Jade is right. That, yeah, it means what they experienced was real. but also it's completely valid to take the Jim route and say, doesn't matter if we think it's real. They really scared us and maybe we shouldn't be pushing so hard. I do have people to lose. So therefore, I'm going to hesitate. These two facts can be 100% true.
Exactly.
This episode does a really good job of putting you on that line. Remember when we were watching the show from the beginning? We want them to jump into danger to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it interesting how it sort of unlocks a little human side to us? Because we're awful. I'll say it a million times. We're awful because even though we're seeing the humanity and not wanting to continue, and we're like, well, yeah, you do have a lot to lose. Yeah, maybe we don't want to solve the mystery. Whereas usually you're conditioned as a viewer to be like, I'm going to figure it out. I don't care who dies. But see, we're not there yet because we hate Danny Acosta, right? See,
No.
I feel like
So.
I feel like this damn town is making us more human. Yeah. I think. I'm not sure. I'm noticing a change in me is what I'm saying. You kind of brought this up at the beginning, Diana, seeing the grayness in people. It's such a good experiment, Jason, huh? On the viewer. In the last episode, what did we say, Jason? We said we're the 47th person in the town.
Yeah, we could be.
This show's kind of proving that to be the case. I also said that we're the crows on the tree. We're like, go into the town. Be suffering for us because we're awful. I like it.
47 numbers is even more confusing now, Diana. Jim's gone. So what is that? Does that make it 46? But Sophia's here. But does she count because she's the man in yellow? It's so confusing.
It is. When they went to get the replacement glasses, there's two things. One was that she says everyone's not forgotten because we have these items here, which I thought was an interesting thing. It may have not been as interesting if it had just been a regular person, but knowing that it's
this jerk,
the man in yellow. Yeah. Like, what does that mean? Right? That they're not forgotten? That
they're still with us. Is that sort of what she said? Because their stuff's still around?
Right. So we have these things that are theirs and we can think about them. But also the glasses, she takes them off, basically like, I don't really need these. These are just part of my performance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But why are we seeing that? Why is she showing that to us? Because
did she pick those specific glasses for a reason?
Yeah, she kind of rifled through a bunch and then she's stuck with these horned rim-ish glasses.
Yeah. Are those
and
ones
she looks at
significant?
Them. Yeah. Why are they significant?
Let's start simple.
Whose glasses are there?
Did you get the sense that there was a knowing glance? Like she knew whose these were? Did you get that feeling?
It could be. I'm thinking that could have been. Yeah.
Okay. Let's start there. We're starting slow.
Okay.
Let's go a little further. I've heard this theory. I hate that I hear these theories before we start to talk about them. I don't remember him wearing glasses, but some people have said that this was Father Catri's glasses.
Oh, really?
Oh, so you guys haven't heard this one?
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Your mind. It's not my theory.
I remember from the Flash, from when Boyd sees him as a ghost or whatever. He doesn't have glasses on, right?
No, not when Boyd sees him. Right.
Not then, yeah.
Yeah. See, now I'm just going to look it up briefly. Father Catri, played by Sean Rajamdar, does not wear glasses in the series. The character is depicted as having a strong presence and authority without visible glasses, which may contribute to imposing demeanor. So yeah, I thought so. So let's go back to Jade's little timeline tree, right, in the cardboard. One of the dates that he points to is the 1950s. The monsters have a 1950s-esque attire to them. Town seems a little stuck out of time, like 50s, 70s, even 80s-ish. Between the motel and the swimming pool and even the post office to a certain degree, like an Indiana suburb town, which we figure this might be a town in Indiana that was stuck out of time. I bring this up because the glasses have that kind of feel to them as well. And if that's the case, something that we also brought up was that it's possible that, no, we don't know how long Victor was there. Victor was a kid when he came into the town, grew up a little bit before the massacre happened, had to have been about late 70s. So he wasn't around in the 50s. But the monsters that came out were, maybe. The theory was if the man in yellow could be any person he wanted, or maybe even any monster. We didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Then
wouldn't Victor recognize that person like Sophia? Well, actually, that's another question. Did Victor spot Sophia at all in the last two episodes? Oh,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right. He's hiding in the barn this episode and Henry comes in and consoles him. Okay.
So there's still a chance.
But he can walk around as usual, though, where the monsters can't.
You're saying the man in yellow, right?
Yeah, the man in yellow.
Victor, for a second, I'm like, he's
definitely a different type of monster.
Yeah.
So he's different. He's not the same as all the others.
Touches talismans.
And is he the mastermind, or is there someone still else besides him?
Right. I'm leaning more towards this. Like, remember we were talking about how the man in yellow, there's the demon with the yellow eyes, and then there's the demon in yellow, Hastur. He's of the old gods, the Cthulhu mythos. The king in yellow. the unspeakable one, Asatur, Zastur, Haztre. But yeah, the King in Yellow was one of its names. Obviously, it's Cthulhu. It's a big octopus guy. Old god, big boss, maybe. Or I think Jamie was kind of adamant that this was not one of the monsters. And there's logic to that maybe this was a person. I don't know, but do you guys feel like that could be possible? That maybe our people could perform such feats? Julie can story walk, and Ethan can see ghosts like Victor can. Why not change your shape? And then see, this is the 47th person theory. Well, maybe the King in Yellow, the man in yellow, has been a part of the town all along, has been the 47th person with us, but he just changed himself to be someone else. I don't know who that would be, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a theory somewhere that Tilly was possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
I'm
I
glad you brought
believe
that up.
that
Yeah,
or
I did see that
whatever it
also.
might be, but I saw someone
She's so
else say
happy
that.
when they arrive. She's dancing in the rain. Like, man in yellow loves the chaos.
Snuck in, right, to the town. Similar cycle repeating. So she snuck in with the pastor, snuck in with the bus, maybe. Do you remember that Twilight Zone episode? It's snowing. A bus pulls into a diner. All the people that got off the bus, maybe, go into the diner. But they're figuring, wait, the manifest says there's 8 people, but there's 9 people in the diner. Who's the alien? Because an alien crash was happening nearby. But then, it's similar to that. Oh, they're borrowing from the Twilight Zone a little bit, right? Somebody snuck in on the bus on the way
Twilight Zone. So good.
Man, stuff we think of. Okay, so if cycles repeat, did the same thing with the pastor, blah, blah, blah. Anything is possible.
Sophia picked out her glasses. There's a little ballerina statue. Think there's any significance to that? Or do you think it was just a callback to
the music box with the ballerina? Cycles, repeating themes. It could be related to the same person whom we saw. We actually saw a ballerina dancer at one point, if you remember. That was crazy. Twice, I think. Once in the root cellar and the other in the church. And very close to when he last saw Father Kotri, too. I think maybe the last time, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that was a real person. Maybe one of the sad residents, I'm not saying a monster, but I'm saying a person, was this ballerina. And maybe it makes what Sophia says actually true. Maybe the stuff they leave behind is an anchor, because then what does that mean? If all these little lost and found bits represent people who have been here before, and it's their anchor to keep them here, just because they're dead doesn't mean they're gone.
Yeah.
We can clearly conjure them
up.
Apparently. So this is the journey my brain went on. Then what does it mean that the bracelet that Jim lost ends up in this lost and found? Because he loses it at a bar, like Frank, we just mentioned in this episode, who dies in the box because Boyd put him there. Jim's an alcoholic, lest we forget. And Jim was at the bar when Ethan was born, or was it with Julie? I think he left it in the bar and he never got it again. Tabitha made it for him because it was made from the shoelaces of his grandfather's boots, or his father's boots, right? Remembering little details, which made it so unique for her to remember when she found it in the Lost and Found. So now that Jim is dead, isn't this freaking you out a little bit?
Yes, it is freaking me out.
Like
it
that
is.
he's
You're
always
right.
meant to die? Maybe he was already dead? I'm just thinking here.
Or maybe the people that come to this town is because of this place that's housing these items. I mean, it could be anything.
Right. Oh, maybe they always meant to end up there.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's not for today, but it does get us a little bit closer to why that happened, why she found this bracelet. Or if you want to go more simple, why did that even happen? Could it be, walk with me here, if Tabitha willed it, she wanted to see that bracelet again. After all the troubles they've been going through, by the way, they're starting to have feelings for each other again. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I wonder where that bracelet, oh, here it is in Lost and Found. Well, Tabitha had this heart-to-heart with Jim, and she really wanted to see him again, say goodbye. So she does it in her own way. We're going to be okay. Don't be afraid. I've got this. You can rest. Well, then Jim shows up. Simple. Let's not go hardcore. There's something to this. I don't know what it is. I like it.
Yeah.
I've said this before. First of all, the monsters feel like a kid's fever dream. Playing hide and go seek or tag, but it's scary. Then the talismans feel like, why do they work? Not how.
Right.
I don't care about how.
Yeah.
Why do they work? They don't make sense. Fine. And then it feels like this place gives you what you actually want. Jim and Tabitha don't want to be separated. They want to be together. Thomas, the death of their kid, that's what broke them. And so this place put them together. The town flings people apart, but they find their way to be together. Don and Boyd aren't fighting anymore. In fact, Don is like, I acknowledge the fact that this town is held together by you. You saved us. Even though at some point they decided to part ways, you're watching season 1. Donna would have died before she would admit that Boyd helped them. And now she's like, please don't unravel. Christy too, even though she's mad at him too. She was mad at him. Kenny was mad at him in the last season. They only barely patched it up by the end of it. That moment happened not a day or two ago. And yet Kenny feels like, okay, they're putting Jim in the church. Kenny feels like he has to join Boyd because why? They only just patched up. Let me bring this to an actual point. Sarah says something very peculiar to Kenny. And I just want to get your read on this. Kenny sees the body of Jim. Sarah says, I can take her. I know you two were close, Kenny and Jim.
I wondered the same thing.
Yeah.
Sarah says this. That can't be nothing, right?
And also that she says, I will take her to get the glasses. And again, why is that area so important? Like, why are they even showing us that?
Oh, okay. The glasses, the lost and found?
Yeah. And that we went to the lost and found. Everything that we just talked about. It's just interesting that this place is of significance because I kept thinking to myself, well, who cares? Okay, you're going to go get the glasses. And I thought they were going to come back with glasses, but no, they actually show them and all of that. Now that you've said that about the bracelet. So I just feel like this place means so much more. Yes.
Let's add a little flavor to that. Fine. Let's go back to that. Let's story walk like Julie. Let's go back to season 1. What was Sarah doing? What was her occupation?
She was at the diner.
Doing what? Kind of like a waitress, helping people, helping Tien Chan out.
Yeah.
By the way, keep that in your mind also that she's the one to kill Kenny's dad, basically, because she left the door open.
Yes, right.
Which is why, goodbye. But she helped Tien Chan with the lost and found stuff, which is why she's so eager to take Sophia there. Because maybe she wants to actually kind of connect to this town again after feeling like she didn't deserve, right? Because all of season 3 was her kind of moping around, rightfully, right? She did kill someone. And yeah, she is not great. Everybody's afraid of her.
I'd be.
And you can see her, she's like asking people how they are. She's trying to open up to people a lot more. They're all here and suffering. Why not at this point? Cycles. Kind of makes sense for her to go back to where she started. Or where we started with her. We're the 47th person. Where we started with her. I got so giddy when she was taking the man in yellow.
Sophia in yellow, yeah.
To this place. Because I was eager to see something happen. She's like, oh, I don't know why I said all this to you. Well, you don't talk to people. And she's opening up. Well, now you remember that you're an actual person. That maybe at one point you came here because you were afraid of your ex, I think it was. And your brother scooped you up and you guys ran away together. Remember she had her little Christmas figurines or ornament figurine thing that painting them wild colors, right, with her brother. See, you're remembering little things. And she was a person. She was a good person. But this place made her bad. But now she's with the thing that probably made her bad. See, that's why I got so giddy. Maybe, right? Because what you're thinking, oh, is that the guy that carved the shit in my arm? Sorry, now I swore. See what this show makes me do? Makes good people say bad things. I hope that's an answer to your question. Why her? And why this place? Torture. Or maybe, I don't know. Is it torture? Maybe it makes her feel more like a person. I think it felt really nice to help Tien Chan out. And now she's connecting with that again. She's like, maybe even taking over the mantle. I don't know. It's possible. Sarah says to Kenny, I know you two were close. I don't remember that they were.
I did not remember. It struck me when they said that because I'm like, they were close. I don't remember. I can't remember.
I guess I just assumed that.
Did Kenny even acknowledge that fact? Even? I don't know. Did we actually see Kenny with Jim's body? No, we all we saw was...
No, we didn't.
No, he said he just heard about it.
And then we see him and Boyd in the station again, right? If I'm not mistaken. I believe they meet each other briefly. And then, Ellis, of course, the ambulance comes out, right? They go outside. They were doing something and then something stopped again. Hold on a second. First of all, it allows Ethan to escape because he's upstairs. The ambulance comes by and Donna's like, what are you doing? Right, Donna? Do you think Sarah might be talking about Boyd? I don't know that makes sense. Has to be Jim that she's talking about.
I thought she was talking about Jim because it would make more sense, right, if it was Boyd.
Right.
Definitely, yeah.
And all that serves a purpose in doing is when the ambulance comes out, they both roll out the spike strip, which helps stop it.
I had to look something up. So they did have shared moments as the village cabin. Kenny and Jim, in their efforts to investigate the town's perimeter, discover an eerie abandoned village with small cabins adorned with totems.
Okay, that's something. Oh, yeah. They did kind of bond there. They were really happy about finding the food that saved the town.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, good point. I don't know if that would constitute them as being close.
That you're close.
Maybe they were. Right. Maybe I took it for granted. Doesn't this sort of also feel like last season, though, too? Okay, Tien Chan is murdered in the very barn that we find Jim, too.
And torn the same way?
Perhaps, yeah. She was more messed up. They dug into her knee and I think they did that to torture Boyd because that was the point.
Right.
We want to break you. We could have killed you. By the way, that's another log in the fire to get Boyd in the box. Why didn't they kill you last season? I'm not going to say season, but maybe winter, right? Because it was snowing. Why didn't they kill you? Oh, maybe he's a monster too. Maybe Acosta was right. She was screaming it loudly, like, you're the monster. Well, she said, you're all monsters, right? But maybe in an effort to take the stink off of them, at least Colony House is like, we're not. Him, not us. Him. He's the monster, not us. We're not. Well, no, him. Just feeding you, Jason, feeding your theory.
Yeah.
I hate it. This is why I brought up in the very beginning how the downside of moving directly right into the next episode, right where we left off, is the movement. We're not really going that far. We left off in the dead of night, and we're only a half a day in.
Right.
We're not even near evening time. When we first see Acosta, what was the first thing you see? Oh, actually, it was the Zootons cover of the Beatles song. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another dumb day.
Or getting them up, you know what they're going to find.
Good morning.
It's going to be a crazy day for them now.
Here's the bacon. It's hanging from the rafters. Oh boy. It's another day in
That's
front.
That's what I got out of the song, yeah.
And then not that much later, Officer Acosta goes on a joyride. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get past the second day by the end of the season. All this happens within 2 days.
Oh, funny.
Maybe this whole thing is accelerating a bit. Because I felt like there was more time that had passed the first few seasons. Maybe it's been a week, maybe, a couple nights, right? Monsters come out at night.
I remember. Yeah, more nights. Yeah.
This is only
more
been
hiding
one.
And stuff.
Yeah. Weird. Maybe we're getting closer to answers. No, we're not. No, I feel like a dummy. Every time I think I know what's happening, right, Christy? I'm proven wrong. They did mention Tilly this episode, to your point. I can tell people you killed Tilly. Fatima killed Tilly. And I'll put you in the box. Fine. Chekhov's box. Fine. I found the choice of the goat interesting. You think it's going to be Jim, but it's not. It's a sacrifice, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament or the Torah, we do a lot of sacrifices for various reasons. Sometimes in praise, right? During high holidays. But in some traditions, we make an offering for forgiveness for things that are meant for punishments of death. Let's say we've done something so horrible that requires us to not be here anymore. And it's not in the hands of man, it's in the hands of God, let's say. An offering is put up in an effort to atone for that so that we can be forgiven for this. I feel like there's a lot of symbolism when it comes to the goat. Now, we know what the monsters have done. We haven't seen them do it in a while. And one of those things is the state of Jim where we left off. But that doesn't mean that they did the same thing to the goat. The goat could have been something or someone else. Because we take it for granted that these things do these things. And of course we saw Jim die. So remember, the man in yellow said, I can't come to this town as I am because they know too much. So he becomes Sophia. What does he feel like he has to do to Jim's body to bury the lead, to kind of like make sure that they don't know that it was him? Well, it was a monster. They want everybody to think that a monster did this, not something worse, possibly.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just worth remembering that that's a fact. Now, whether they did do that is a whole other story, but I think that that's what that was about. And it could explain why she was outside too, not just to kind of give Kenny a reason to yell at her. She literally went out there after she killed her dad and then took care of business after hours to Jim, did all the hanging and all that stuff. I don't think the monsters did that, do you?
I think it was a man in yellow. And they just slashed his stomach and stuff to make it look like, because that's what the monsters do. So he had already killed Jim by just slashing his throat, but do a little bit more and make it look like the monsters did it.
So he's covering his tracks. Okay. Seems important. We're so grief-stricken. We kind of forgot what that was all about too. And what a display. And to make it so that the kids eventually... See, this proves that he knows where this is going too.
Yeah, I think it was orchestrated. He knew that they would go and think that he was in that bag, but he wasn't, and that the kids were going to go find. Again, wouldn't that be that if Ethan was...
That would be Ethan, yeah. Wanting himself to...
Right? Because Ethan knows what's going to happen. I still don't know that I believe that. If that was a theory, that would sort of make sense, that you would know the steps.
Right. This would be the grandfather paradox, sort of. You're making your future manifest by perpetuating it. What happened was always supposed to happen, but this is how it happened. A man in yellow, which I end up becoming. Who is the first mover in that loop? Fine. That makes sense then.
Yeah, but I don't want it to make sense because I don't want that for Ethan at all.
Yeah.
I hope that it's not true. I hope it's totally wrong.
Right. What happens when he finds a lake of tears? Some other dumb, tragic thing to put him in the Man in Yellow box. You know, I can see why that theory works is because just like Julie trying to story walk, maybe he feels like he can change it. Maybe even if he just does enough awful things, maybe something can jerk them out of the cycle. That's plausible to me. Do you remember Groundhog Day? You're watching Bill Murray just doing more wacky things, knowing that there's no consequences, trying to test the limits. What if that's Ethan as the writer, let's say, we call him the writer, the Man in Yellow, because he seems to know where it's headed, where it's been, what is happening right now everywhere because of that smile, but then being powerless to change it. Even the writer is bound by knowing that there is a story that's already hard written and it cannot be changed. So then I ask you to do one thing. Who has the power to change things? That's the question. Could it be Tabitha that can will things into existence? Is it Boyd who has to keep on believing or else the whole town unravels? Is it Jade solves the mystery box? Or unless it's the hamster wheel they put him on to kind of throw him off the track? Or was it Fatima all along? Or yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit in favor of the Fatima thing. To have gone through a tragedy to unlock something.
Could be any of those. Those are all good options.
Or is it us?
Yeah, we're number 47.
We're the 47. Yeah. Lame. We're the worst. If it was up to us, we'd have 9 seasons and we'd keep this torture going. See, we're the worst. It really is us. Cancel MGM Plus tomorrow and then they'll solve the mystery. I think the only thing I wanted to talk about was you were close. It kind of makes sense, the whole cabins thing, because we are going to see that again. The creepy cat, the cannibal village, as is often referred to as. I don't care for it. Well, the blood in the skull might have been a giveaway. What are your feelings about Henry? I know Henry and Victor have a moment, which feels like a repeat from when they were finding Eloise's grave. They do find it, thus proving that Victor buried something of her, maybe?
Small bones.
Yeah. I am curious to know if you think Henry is Henry or if Henry is something else.
Do we believe that Tabitha went into the real world and came back because she actually went to the house, picked him up and took him? So if we believe that, then I would believe it is.
Yeah.
Give me a minute to reframe something. Is it possible that Henry has always been in this weird pocket area of the town this whole time? No, but then what would all the people in it be? The hospital that she was in.
Anything could be anything in whatever world we're watching.
That would explain why the boy in white can appear, because that doesn't make any sense if the boy in white is outside the town. That world felt so tactile. There were too many people for it to be, or fine, we just talked about it. What if there were recycled people from the people who died? What if they're like background actors now in this drama? All the people who died in this town. What if she only bumped into 47 of them? Kidding. I don't know.
Now we got to count.
That's more plausible to me. Henry was trapped there, but he just couldn't get to Miranda.
Fromville.
Right. That would make sense because he even said, oh, we had a bottle tree in this world, right? Well, then wouldn't it just connect to...
True.
Yeah.
I hate it. I don't like it. I want it to be real.
Yeah.
I want Tabitha to have escaped. Right? Because that's where we left off at the end of season 2.
Because we want to know that there's an out somehow.
Okay. Sorry. Then how do you explain Officer Acosta? Because she is, or she feels very real and very frustrated. She was in the ambulance with Tabitha and Henry. How do you explain that? Those EMTs were killed. The other officer, I think, too.
Right.
See, can't just explain that away.
Yeah, that part felt real.
Unless they were already there, right? Like Henry. They just forgot that they were there, right? Because the lost and found. Do you hate me? I hate me too.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages. We just thought we'd remind you to show this episode some love by tapping that like button, if there's one to be tapped, subscribing to our podcast or channel, and if available, enabling all notifications, and sharing the show, or clips of it, with everyone you know. And don't be afraid to reach out. Leave your questions, feedback, ideas, or even concerns in the comments section. There isn't one? Head on over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and leave your thoughts there. Rating our podcast is the best way to get our attention because it also boosts our visibility. And we'll probably address it in the next episode too. And if you think there's something to what we're doing here at Squawking Dead, tip us over on Ko-fi. As a token of our appreciation, you'll receive forever access to our Discord, along with 30 days access to our uncut episode and interview recordings, plus our pre-squawk insights. Take your support further. Join a membership tier on either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead, and you'll unlock access to more channels on our Discord server, receive shoutouts at the end of every episode, and depending on what tier you join, the ability to join us on camera and mic to break down future episodes alongside us. Thank you for hearing us out and making it this far into the episode. We now return you to our regularly scheduled podcast.
I'm going to reiterate what I said in the last episode. The outside world isn't real. It's a dream. And they only live in Fromville. That's the real world.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. It's a fun thought because then they kind of forget. Danny Acosta was always here. If these victims were just recycled people from cycles past, if Henry was just out there somewhere in a pocket version of the town waiting to be rescued in, but who's always been there. Well, one question is that was said on this show by Boyd today. How do we help kids that are already dead? This is a question that was repeated in the last episode by Tabitha, I think was to Jade, to kind of reiterate, how do we know that this is real? How do we save kids that are already dead? And Storywalkers.
You give them peace. That's how you save them.
Maybe you do what you did to Jim.
Yeah.
Maybe Tabitha found it in this episode.
Maybe you help them move on because they're all stuck right now. And that's how you save them. Maybe you don't save them from not dying, but you save them to move on.
Maybe me half joking about people not being able to move on in this town, them being stuck here with their lost and found things. Maybe that's just a repetition of that cycle. So if we can somehow lay them to rest, like Jim, and then you see his little ghost, which is great. And he doesn't look like an Alan Cooey kid, right? Right?
No, he doesn't.
So if we can maybe lay them to rest, maybe they can move on. And that would make the monsters be able to die.
Reverse the curse.
Yeah, maybe them being able to live forever is because their kids are cursed, tormented to reach. But I guess we'll find out, right?
We will.
If you're all done hating me, I'm not. But if you are, I can't wait till the next episode to figure out the rest of this curse that has been inflicted upon us that we seem to love with every little passing episode. So thank you, Diana, first of all, for making it out here.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on.
Jason, for feeding this.
It, yeah.
I hope to see you all, you audience, next week for another fever dream of our coverage of From. We have so much to edit. We have the boys' reactions on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have to do our second recording of Severance for the second episode. We played both the first and the second episode for our innies, Sharondy and Bridget, and it was pretty great. They are very keen podcaster brains. They've already spotted a couple things, though I'm very eager to see us react to the second episode. Other than that, obviously House of the Dragon's coming in June, and I think Silo is coming in July, by the way.
Yeah. So the next two big ones for us, I think.
Get excited. Beyond that, I'm stressed out. I'm a week behind on every single podcast we're doing. And all I ask is you wish for mojo, keep watching, and hang in there, because I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by
Jason at Neo's the One.
Diana at Screens in Focus. Watching and covering the Testaments, which has been so good. It's in the Handmaid's world, so loving it.
Boys and girls. See you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for making it to the end of yet another episode of Squawking Dead. This one discussing From's second episode of season 4, titled The Fray. And like I mentioned at the end of the last episode's epilogue, we need you. We need you to share these episodes, clips, comment on episodes that you may have questions on or have thoughts on what we've actually said, ratings on podcast platforms, and last but certainly not least, any tips or even memberships you can join really greatly boost our morale, first of all, and second of all, tells us that we are on the right track and that we are worth listening to and that other people should be listening to us too. That being said, let's shout out some of the folks who have decided to join a membership, namely the survivors or whisperers. We had one of our whisperers today, which was Jason, who you can reach on Instagram via at Neo's the One. That's at NEOS, the number one, HEONE. Rob Lucchese, who was with us on our coverage of The Boys, and then some. You can reach him on TikTok via at Rob's Stuff _N as in Nancy _thangs, THANGS. And of course, Kim Rowley, who you can reach on Facebook via at kim.rowley, the number one. I am raring to go to release this episode. We just released The Boys' 4th episode of season 5, King of Hell, yesterday, May 2nd. Today's May 3rd at approximately 5:11 p.m. We're rocking and rolling. Hopefully we'll get the 5th episode of The Boys out tomorrow. Not likely, but hey, listen, we live in hope. Unlike this series, namely From, where there is no hope. And of course, the walkers are scrolling on the screen right now, it's another perk that members receive of all stripes. A little acknowledgement at the end of every episode. And in the meantime, hopefully that meantime isn't a long time, just remember that we are Squawking Dead.